And that is the number one lesson I wish I had known 8 years ago when I started my business brokerage campaign. Hi, I'm Neal Isaacs, the Raleigh Business Broker. I love to record content for buyers, owners, and business brokers that want to break into the business brokerage industry. Today, I'm going to break down the top 4 lessons that I've learned in my 8 years of being a business broker. Let's kick it off. Number 4 is about the deal team. Who is your deal team? Well, the deal team are those advisors and stakeholders that you bring into the deal to get the deal done. As a business broker, you are not an attorney, a CPA, a financial advisor. You're not even a business coach. If they need to improve their business, you need other professionals to do this work. But you have to understand their role as well. Early in my days, I referred business sellers to an attorney, and I didn't know that his minimum fee was $10,000. This is perfectly fine for business owners that are selling multi-million-dollar businesses, but for small businesses, it wasn't a good fit. And I didn't know that because I didn't have those conversations with that particular attorney. I have learned over time, over my time as a business broker, that I really need to spend the time to interview and understand how these deal partners work, understand what success is for them in a deal, and understand how they communicate with the deal. What we do now with our most important transaction partners, which is primarily our deal attorneys, is early on when we go under contract, we have a clarification meeting with them. Mr. Attorney, I understand that you will write the purchase agreement, you will write the bill of sale, and you're depending on me, the intermediary, to flesh out the terms of the non-compete, and then you're going to do B, C, and D, blah, blah, blah. And then they can say yes or no, but at least we have a mutual understanding of how this should unfold. That is time well spent, to invest that time with our transaction partners. The more you develop relationships with them, the more likely you are to get referrals from these professionals when their clients come to them later because they say, hey, that business broker did a great deal for my other client. So your deal team is critical, and that's lesson number 4 is communicate with your deal team, understand their role in the transaction. Number 3 in Neal's top 4 lessons learned in my 8 years and counting as a business broker is that this is not a finance guy type of gig. When I started this business, I got lost in the numbers. Even though I had sold a business, got an MBA, I couldn't tell you the nuances between a P&L and a balance sheet. It took me time to start to understand how financial statements work, but you don't have to know that stuff in the beginning. This is a sales and marketing business. Our clients come to us and they just want to understand, can you, Mr. Business Broker, Mrs. Business Broker, take me from my current situation to the situation that I want to be in? I want to sell my business. I don't want the stress of running this business on a day-to-day basis. I want to know that you have a process and have the buyers to get me from point A to point B, and you'll get this deal done. Everything else is kind of fluff. They want to hand this job off to a professional. You want to make sure that they understand that you are the professional. As a professional, you don't have to know everything. You just have to have the resources to bring in the things that you may have gaps in. So don't forget that. Don't get lost in the numbers. Focus on making sure that your clients know that you can serve them. When the client needs you, you're there. So that's sales and marketing to Neal, the business broker, and that's what I would advise any new business broker to focus on. That's a huge topic. I would advise you to check out the IBBA and other resources to find out how to do sales and marketing effectively, but sales and marketing is a critical skill in business brokerage. The second to last tip that Neal has for aspiring business brokers is that this business is fundamentally different than a real estate brokerage. So what's the difference between real estate brokerage and business brokerage? They're very similar. Business owners are selling their largest asset, and homeowners often, that's the largest asset that they're selling. But here's where it's vastly different. When a real estate broker shows a home, they tell the homeowner, get out of here, right? I need 2-3 hours to show your house, and I don't want you to be here. When you sell a business, it's the opposite. When you sell a business, you tell the business owner, hey, this business buyer likes the business, but they want to understand how you built it, what your relationship is like with your team, how critical you are to the business, and most likely they will want to talk to you. We actually don't take business buyers seriously if they're not asking to meet the owner. Essentially, in real estate, you're keeping the buyer and the seller apart, and in business brokerage, you bring them together in order to get the deal done. That plus confidentiality are the two biggest differences between real estate brokerage and business brokerage. And the number one lesson that I have learned is you're not trying to go high. Day one as a business broker, I thought, hey, whatever the business owner wants, we're gonna go high, right? You want this, let's get that. Here's the reality. You want to go to market at the most probable sales price. You will already have business owners that want you to sell the business for far more than the most probable sales price is. Now, this is the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship. It's the business owner's decision if they want to go to market at a price that exceeds the most probable sales price. That's totally up to them. But as a business broker, in order to use your time the best, you want to make sure you're working with business owners who understand what the most probable sales price is and understand that if they're way above it, the probability of closing gets lower and lower and lower. And if they're not ready to sell at the most probable sales price, they may not be the best way for you to spend your time. Now that I'm this far into it, we just do a lot of education. Mr. Business Owner, Mrs. Business Owner, this is my valuation. You're welcome to get another valuation, but this is the most probable sales price. Will that work for you? If they say yes, great. It's time to go to market. If they say, no, I want more, then talk to them about how they can get to more. But don't just say, great, we'll go out at that higher price. It's a recipe for failure. And you're going to waste your time, the business owner's time, and the business buyer's time. The business buyers are going to say, why is this overpriced? Surely they'll take a lower price. And if your client won't take a lower price, you're wasting a lot of resources. So don't go high. Go with the most probable sales price. There's a strategy to include a buffer, but don't do your client a disservice by setting their expectations higher than what you, the professional, know what the most probable sales price is. So there you have it. If you're an aspiring business broker, if you're a new business broker, let me know what else you want me to talk about in this forum. Put it in the comments or direct message me. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me around the web. I am Neal Isaacs, the Raleigh Business Broker. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.